Here we are. So this was the first corner. Shisha, although he won the start, having to drop in corner.
Ericsson then straight to the Joker, so he was on the outside. You're never going to get across unless you make a really good start, and the others don't. So he was into the Joker nice and early and into some clear air there.
He looked as though, didn't he? You know, when two people go deep, particularly when you... Gronholm, as if looking at Gronholm, yeah, see, there. It's definitely off the rim.
I was sure that the first time I saw it, it looked low, so it looked like it's a slow puncher rather than an impact straightaway punch to the tyre and takes it off the rim.
AJ's been away since the start of the year, and bang, straight on the punches immediately from a distance of 100 metres. Maybe I need to get some binoculars, because I certainly wouldn't have spotted that, but bang on it. But yeah, down at the start, Kevin Eriksson looking to make the cut back on the other two. Chose to take the Joker lap on lap 1. It worked out, and he is our current leader. This was up to turn 1, so Solberg with the best start on the inside here. So look, Ekstrom moves across for the cutback in the background, and that's the sensible thing, because we do see people run wide in turn 1, but
I think Ekstrom would have been the deciding factor on that, because if Lober then gone Joker, Ekstrom wouldn't have followed 2 cars into it. So it worked out well for Audi. I think Ekstrom had good pace there. I think he might have had a tenth or 2 over backward, just looking at the last lap times. But on lap 3, they were all within a tenth. All 4 cars were within a tenth. So very good pace there.
And good to see the Peugeot on the pace too, because yesterday I spoke to Timmy and he said there were 4 tenths off in free practice, which they were hoping that they wouldn't be.
Solberg just hooks it, tries to handbrake it in. It's like something bogged down a little bit
in the car. Yeah, exactly.
Normally, as you handbrake it and you get the car rotated, you then relying on the speed and a bit of wheel spin and throttle control. It just then died a little bit mid-corner, it looked, didn't it?
Johan Kristoffersson is in that special place, isn't
he? Smooth, isn't he?
Yeah, just the whole thing. Interesting what he said about the car, not that comfortable to drive.
Yeah, so he said it's not that nice to drive, but it's quick, and that's always the weighing up option is do you want something that's easy to drive and comfortable to drive, but isn't as quick? Well, no, as a driver, you always go with what's quickest, but we were watching it and saying how nice it looked to be handling, but that's just his knowledge as he flicks it in here, look, just misses that curve, and it's, again, weighing up the risk of how much curve do you take and how much risk do you take of a puncher.
I was talking to Tommy Kristofferson, who mentioned the test they had in Norway, which is where this car was fully transformed. Bearing in mind he'd already won Q3 and 4 in UK at that point. He said it was tiny things. He said weight distribution, he goes, tiny things. He wouldn't tell me all of them, but it made a difference. And remember, this is Wilmer, the chassis name up on the roll cage. It's the same car as last year, but just the little things which they changed on the car had meant that he wasn't quite so at home. And yet here he is now, knocking it out of the park already. Well, there you go, you heard it from Timmy himself. It's a big teamwork that we've got to do to get exactly, get the extra pace, basically.
Yeah, and it just shows how competitive he is, isn't he? I listened on board from Larson's. Look, Tim Jarno got the flyer start, and then is it Larson, he goes straight to the Joker, so you can see how much more speed you can carry around, because the corner's much further around there than the normal lap.
He's such a physical driver, Larson. You know the way you see, and to be fair, when you see it on board, it's still beautifully small inputs from Larson, like when he had a little nip on the handbrake there around the outside just to make sure it rotated on turn in.
He's quite an aggressive driver, isn't he, there? You can see it's a big pull on the handbrake, gets the car nice sideways, which is great to watch. But Timmy said, yeah, third is okay, but I want a challenge for the win. So he knows, he doesn't come here to come third, he comes here to win. So a solid result and a solid start, but they know there's still work to do, certainly to beat Kristofferson in the VW.
There are the standings for you guys. Johan Kristofferson taking the win in Q1 from Andreas Backrud and Timmy Hansen. Matthias Ekstrom in P4, then Loben. Solberg made that mistake. Would Solberg have been up in P2? It might have been a Volkswagen 1-2 if he hadn't had the problem in the Joker. Timozianov, the top of the Hyundais. Yanis Balmanis, the top of the privateer teams. Of course, Hyundai privateer 2. Larson's in, that's a good run for him. Kevin Hansen, also Jerome Grosjean in, the only one of the 2 GCK cars to make it at the minute. Kevin Eriksson too, so both the OMSE cars currently in. Shisha, Scheider, Gronholm and Bennett with some work still to do this weekend. But that is just the first of 4 qualifying sessions.